Around the world, waistlines are growing at an unprecedented rate. Most people assume they already know why. Fast food, sugary drinks, and a lack of self-control are usually blamed for the obesity crisis. But what if some of the biggest causes of weight gain aren't the obvious ones? What if the real problem isn't just what you're eating, but a collection of small habits quietly influencing your decisions every single day? Because for many people, gaining weight doesn't happen because of one huge mistake. It happens because of dozens of tiny behaviors that seem harmless on their own, but become powerful when combined. And some of them might be affecting you right now. Every year, people spend hundreds of billions of dollars on fast food. As modern life becomes faster and more convenient, highly processed meals have become a normal part of everyday living. But fast food is only part of the story. One of the most overlooked causes of weight gain can happen right inside your living room. Imagine settling onto the couch after a long day. You turn on your favorite show, grab a bag of chips, and start eating while focusing entirely on the screen. Then something strange happens. The next time you look down, the bag is empty. You barely remember eating it. This phenomenon is often called amnesiac eating, and it's surprisingly common. When your attention is locked onto something else, your brain becomes less aware of how much food you're actually consuming. A similar problem appears when boredom enters the picture. Sometimes people aren't eating because they're hungry at all. They're eating simply because food provides stimulation, comfort, or something to do. And while a handful of snacks may not seem important, those unnoticed calories can quietly add up day after day. But your brain isn't the only thing influencing your appetite, because another major factor begins long before you even open the refrigerator. It begins with a bad night's sleep. Most people think sleep and weight gain have very little to do with each other. After all, staying awake longer should technically mean burning more energy. Yet the opposite often happens. The morning after poor sleep, many people find themselves reaching for coffee, soda, sugary snacks, or anything that provides a quick boost of energy. As the day continues, fatigue starts influencing even more decisions. Suddenly, skipping the gym feels reasonable. Cooking a healthy meal feels like too much effort. Convenience becomes far more attractive. And before long, exhaustion starts shaping your entire lifestyle. But sleep creates another problem most people never notice. Because when you're tired, your ability to resist cravings becomes weaker, making unhealthy foods even harder to ignore. And that's where another hidden trap appears. For many people, dinner isn't actually the end of the meal. A few minutes later comes dessert, then maybe another snack, then perhaps something sweet while watching television. The strange thing is that this often has very little to do with hunger. Instead, it's habit. Over time, the brain begins expecting a reward after every meal. Eventually, finishing dinner feels incomplete without something extra afterward. What makes matters worse is that portion sizes have been quietly increasing for decades. Dinner plates have become larger. Restaurant servings have become bigger. As portions grow, our perception of what constitutes a normal meal changes with them. And once larger portions become normal, overeating becomes much easier without us even realizing it. But the problem can begin even earlier than dinner. In fact, it can start before the food ever enters your home. Almost everyone has heard the advice: never go grocery shopping hungry. And there's a surprisingly good reason for it. When you're hungry, nearly everything in a grocery store suddenly looks appealing. Foods you normally wouldn't buy begin finding their way into your cart. Your shopping decisions become driven less by planning and more by immediate cravings. The result is simple. You bring more food home. And if unhealthy foods are sitting in your kitchen, eventually many of them will get eaten. But hunger influences more than shopping decisions. It also affects how quickly we want food. Modern society is built around convenience. Need food? It's delivered. Feeling hungry? Fast food is often just around the corner. The problem is that our brains evolved in a world where calories were difficult to find. When food appeared, eating it immediately was often a survival advantage. Today, that same instinct still exists. The difference is that food is no longer scarce. Instead of occasionally finding a high-calorie meal, we're surrounded by them every day. And our natural desire for instant gratification can push us toward whatever is quickest rather than whatever is healthiest. But food isn't the only source of hidden calories, because some of the biggest calorie bombs don't even feel like food. After a stressful week, many people enjoy relaxing with a drink. The problem is that liquid calories often fly completely under the radar. A beer may seem harmless. A cocktail may feel even smaller. Yet many alcoholic beverages contain far more calories than people realize. Because drinks don't create the same feeling of fullness as solid food, it's easy to consume a significant number of calories without ever feeling like you've eaten anything at all. And while those calories are often overlooked, they still count. But surprisingly, one habit that sounds healthy can create problems too. At first glance, skipping breakfast appears logical. Eat less food, consume fewer calories, and lose weight. Simple. Except the body doesn't always cooperate. After hours of fasting during sleep, your stomach expects fuel. When breakfast never arrives, hunger continues building throughout the morning. By lunchtime, the healthy salad you planned on eating suddenly feels far less satisfying than something larger and more filling. What seemed like a calorie-saving strategy can sometimes lead to overeating later in the day. And that's when another modern problem enters the picture. Restaurants have changed dramatically over the past few decades. As food became cheaper to produce, portions became larger, much larger. Today, meals that were once intended for multiple people are often served as single portions. The problem isn't just the amount of food, it's perception. When oversized portions become normal, reasonable portions start looking small. Without realizing it, people begin treating enormous servings as standard meals. And that creates a cycle where eating more feels completely normal. But food companies have discovered another way to influence our decisions. And it often starts with a single word printed on the package. Many consumers see the words fat-free and immediately assume the product is healthy. But that's only part of the story. Fat and calories are closely related, but they are not the same thing. A food can contain less fat while still providing a significant number of calories. And if those calories aren't used, the body can still store the excess energy. The label creates a powerful psychological effect. People feel safer eating larger amounts because the product appears healthier. Yet calories still matter regardless of the marketing. And that brings us to the habit that amplifies every other problem on this list. Lack of exercise. None of the behaviors we've discussed automatically guarantee weight gain. A missed night of sleep won't do it. A dessert won't do it. A shopping trip while hungry won't do it. But when those habits are combined with an inactive lifestyle, the effects become much harder to offset. Exercise isn't just about burning calories. It helps create balance. The more active you are, the more resilient your body becomes against the small mistakes that naturally happen throughout life. The reality is that weight gain rarely comes from one dramatic decision. It's usually the result of dozens of tiny choices that seem harmless in the moment. Individually, they appear insignificant. Together, they can slowly reshape your health without you ever noticing. And that's what makes them so important to understand. Because the habits that quietly make us gain weight are often the same habits we have the power to change. If you enjoyed this journey into the hidden behaviors shaping your body, subscribe to the Knowledge Rocket for more fascinating explanations of how everyday choices influence your health, your mind, and the world around you. And if you're curious about another eating habit that sparks endless debate, check out our next video.